Hi guys, really quick, just wanted to share, I've been digging into John 10 this month, and it's been so good, and it's been there's so much in there, there's so much to dig into, endless little 5-minute devotions you could do on John 10. But for this, I've been thinking so much about the narratives in scripture of Jesus as the shepherd and us as the sheep. And there's this, like, all throughout scripture, it's like David is the shepherd and he's defending his flocks, and Jesus is the good shepherd and he's like leading us. And so reading through John 10 and came upon this other character and just started doing a little bit of study because I was kind of confused about what it meant. But it's John 10:12, and it says, the hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. And so when he sees a wolf coming, he abandons the sheep. And I was like, who is this hired hand? What does this mean? And in doing some study and reading some commentaries, they were just saying, like, the hired hand is, the hired hand is probably like a shepherd that they hired, but because then it's not a sheep, he doesn't really have any buy-in or any value. And so the hired hand is someone who's not willing to pay a cost. They're not willing to deny themselves for the sake of whatever they're doing. And so I just was getting really convicted by this verse and was just feeling like the ask of the Lord to go, like, Lord, is there anything in my heart that is unwilling to pay a cost? Is there anything in my heart that's like in between me and my yes to you? And it's just such a joyful invitation, like not any stress, but just going like, gosh, Lord, I love laying my life down for you, Jesus. And in what way is there anything in me that would resist that, And I had a dream recently that's been like kind of helping me with this theme. But the dream was we were celebrating a woman in our community, and it was this corporate moment. And the way that we were celebrating her was we were talking about all these really difficult things that she'd done. And we were going like, wow, look at this hardship that you've walked through. Look at this difficult thing you've done. Look at these things you've laid down. And we were just celebrating her life through all these things that she had laid down for Jesus. And I woke up, and the phrase that's just been in my heart has just been that the cost is so worth it. The cost is so worth it. And it's so simple, but just this like idea of like, we never regret the cost of laying our lives down for Jesus. It's what it's all about. It's our greatest joy is to get to lay our lives down for Jesus. And so in light of John 10:12, just going like, Jesus, is there anything in my life? Is there anything in my heart that is unwilling to pay a cost for you? Is there anything in my heart that would get in between me and my yes? Is there anything in my heart, Jesus, that is not fully laid down, fully surrendered, so that I would be able to give you my whole life? And so super simple, super just like easy, but it's just the joy of the cost is laying our lives down for Jesus. It's the joy of following him. It's our greatest joy is to get to lay our lives down for him. And so I felt like the Lord has just been calling me into a greater surrender and to just a greater revelation of like, really it is the best way is laying our lives down. And even just thinking through some of the revival history stuff we've been doing recently, and just going like, gosh, none of those guys who laid their lives down for revival or as martyrs, none of them would look back and go like, oh man, wish I didn't die for God. Like all of them are like, wow, Jesus is so worthy. Jesus is the best way. It's the best way is laying our lives down for him. So just feeling a fresh surrender, fresh like love for Jesus and love for laying our lives down for him. So love you guys. Hope that's encouraging. And we love God.